Okay, wasting a little bit of time. So I've been digging around for some parts. I went and found my box of miscellaneous crap I got laying around. So a short piece of line right here, but it's not usable because it goes to an 1/8 inch pipe. Doesn't help me. So I did find a piece of used line right here. It was longer than one I had, so I was hoping that would be long enough, but it's an inch short. So I put the T-fitting down here. I went and found a piece of 5-inch line I had set aside with my racing stuff. They don't make 5-inch line anymore, but there's one right there. So that put me right back here. I went and changed out this line here, this was one that was in it. I put this black one in down here and ran it. It ends right there. The T goes right in there, and you see how it's just an inch short. And then this here would be a little bit on the long side. It's going to go back further to here, and that would work right down to there, and everything will line up. But this needs to be at least 1 inch longer, if not 2 inches longer. So I got it pulled tight right now, so probably 2 inches longer is what we need to whatever length this is. This is too short. Oh well, thought I had it. It was a few inches longer than the other one, so I was hoping to be good. But oh well. The black dictates what the parts are, not you. Okay, so I gotta loosen this back up because I did tighten it up here good. So I thought it was long enough, but I was wrong. So now this has to go in the other piece. In here. It's pretty tight. You adjust it so the line is going in the direction you want to go. This one here has a natural upward bend to it, so I'm taking advantage of that. This is now tight. This one back here was tight also. And now this is pointed straight up where I need to be. So this one doesn't really matter where it goes because it's flexible. So I'll tighten it up next. And you can see what's going to end over here, which is where this would wind up if I had the fitting. Where's my tool at? Right here. Let's go ahead and tighten this up the rest of the way. So you have it right next to it here. Good time to do it. Pretty tight. Goes underneath like that. Fits in there really nice. So this just goes underneath the frame bracket right here. No problem. It just comes from underneath, goes right on up, hooks right up where you want it to be, see? So it's all tucked up underneath the frame under here, behind everything, out of the way. So it's up there, it'll be way up here. There's no chance of it getting damaged by anything. It's well protected. And if I had the 90 degrees up to 270 degree fitting, that'd go right into there. Now I might just go ahead and cheat and bend this one, which is kind of what I think I was going to do. Whoop. Oh, good catch with the camera, huh? So anyway, this I can pull back an inch or so just by going like this with it, which I probably will. Okay, this line here is too short. I don't like it being right next to my exhaust pipe either, which is the other problem. So we'll have to figure out what length I really want. That's going to be dictated by where this sits. That'll be sitting flush against that. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to bend this. So I think I'm going to sacrifice it and try to make it work. Some oil in there. So we need to get this bent to a 180. Get a real tight radius right there. So let's see if I have anything that's going to help me here. So I got some real expensive tube benders down here. Maybe not in that drawer. Definitely not that drawer. It was this drawer. This is your standard cheapo tube bender. Not super cheap, but cheap. These ones here are a lot more expensive. These are Swedgelock brand. They're made for doing air conditioning and heating vents. So this is a 1/4 inch, the smallest one they make. This is 3/16. It's close. So I don't know if this will work. Probably not going to help me, but we're going to try. So see if I can just hold this over here. Come around here and try to get a little extra bend out of here. Okay, got a little bit. A little further, but not much. So if I take that and move it, okay, that will not go any further because it's too tight of a bend. Trying to figure out how I'm going to hold this. It's nuts in the way, it's not letting me do what I want to do. This one here wasn't much better. So basically, if I just hold this real tightly, now this one will bend 180 if you modify things a little bit here. So this one you unscrew it, move it up 90 degrees. Now you don't have to cross your handles right here to make it 180. See, we're at 180 right there, and we don't cross our handles. See, otherwise the handles would have to cross if you went the other direction. That's how your cheaper tools are made. So you see, you have to cross your handle here to bend it past. See, you got to cross all the way over like that. It's called crossing your handles. So this one here is purposely made. You don't have to do that kind of crap. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this thing with my finger, try to bend it. Like this. My thumb needs to be right where there's no room for it. I need more holding power than what I've got here. So one way of cheating to get more holding power is put a line on the end of it. Now this is 3/8 thread, so I have some 3/8 what do they call those, coupler nuts, which are basically just a long 3/8 nut. I'm not sure where they're at. They're somewhere around here. So the hunt is on. Oh, look at that. The problem is this is fine thread. Yeah, and these are coarse thread most likely. Those are coupler nuts. It's the wrong thread, but it locks in. They give me a little bit more length. I can even put a bolt in here and get even more length. Tack over here. And I got a lot of leverage now. So that's one way of doing things. And this is 3/8 thread over here, so we can do the same thing on that other side. The problem is you only go in about one thread, so there's not a lot of holding power. Now we got lots of power. So one of the tricks I like doing is you bend around a socket the dimension you want right here. So I gotta find me a socket that's about the right size to bend around. Okay, this is a sensor socket for like an oil pressure gauge or something like that. So we put this over in here. So this is going to be about the right radius here. And I got two radiuses I can use. I can use this uncut side or this side here. So you can either be that radius or a little bit thinner if we need to be thinner. And this is cut away so I can cheat and get some more bend that way too. Now these are not the right thread, which I told you is going to be a problem. So I might strip these out a little bit. So what you do is you use both hands pulling around, and you put tension on it. You pull real tight, and you bend it. The key is you got to pull on it also at the same time. You can see I'm not getting the holding power I need. So these coupler nuts are the wrong thread, so I need better thread. Try that again. See, I'm bending it around. Tighten these back up a little bit. We're not pinching the line, see, we're pulling. You got to keep tension on it though, that's the important part. Keep checking to make sure those are tight. Okay, it's going to be the last bend on this way. Yep. Too much tension. It's pulling too hard. Ripping out this side now. And goes that side. I'm just about done with these nuts. I've overdone them now. Yeah, I think that's about all we're going to get out of that. So I've been around this socket here. You can see how it's pretty tight. I was down here, so I was bending around that edge there. So I'm to the point now, the nuts are hitting. Now I can come over here and bend around this and suck up a little bit further, but the problem is I'm running out of holding power with these nuts. So now I need different nuts. Now Sportster on cylinder-based nuts are 3/8 long tower nuts, but I don't have any of those sitting here to use. So what I'm going to try to do here is see what else we can do. I don't think there's anything I can do here at this point. I'm going to try to get one more bend out of this. Okay. So I'm going to put this corner into the slot of the socket. Try to get a little bit more out of it. I'm going to go around the smaller edge. Enough holding power. First one nut comes off and the other nut. Okay, we're not getting the pulling power we need. I don't want to damage that first thread too much, so that's our problem right now. A little bit more tighter on it. Try this one also. I'm going to sacrifice a little bit. I don't like doing this, but I'm going to tighten up with a wrench a little bit. Not really getting much tighter than what I already had it. Nope. About the same. I'm going to try this one more time. Just got no holding power with this one. Can I flip it around the other side? Try to get the first fresh thread on here. Maybe we'll get a little more holding power. Okay, a little more out of it. On the side, this side. There's our 180. See, I have no creases, and the chrome didn't flake either. So I got a nice good radius going. And hopefully I didn't do any damage to my threads, because that would be a problem. I was bending this right here. When I was bending it right here at the socket, at that edge. I was pulling into it like that. So having a slot in here definitely needed it so I can go further around. I kept the radius on the big side, so there's more protection of the tubing. See how that has it. Excuse me. See how it follows the radius of the socket really nicely versus this side here. See it was loose. So the tighter you make this, the tighter this radius becomes, the more chance you have to pinch it. But you can see how this won't go over the tube because of the nuts are in the way. The only reason it worked is because I had that cut away like that. That allowed me to bring it in a little bit deeper. So I was way down here though. So I just made the 180 degree, which is what I was trying to get. So we made it. Now this fancy tool holder, there's no way I would have been able to do that. I might have got a little more than what I had, but see, there's no way I can bend it. I can't hold it and bend it around this radius thing. So even though I get a nice fancy tool, it doesn't always work. Bending stuff by hand always works. That's how I get really tight radiuses. Alright, so coupler nuts, long bolts, and a vise in the socket. There's your mandrel bending. This is the only tool you need for your mandrel bending supply right here. That's it. If you know what you're doing. When you're all done, you put them all back so you can use them again for what they're supposed to be used for. Okay, I gotta check to make sure I didn't do any damage on these. So here's a fitting. No, we don't need this one. We need a female side, not the male side. Let's see here. There's an old line. Goes over here. Okay, it goes on nice and cleanly, so there's no damage on that thread at all. This side over here, I'm going to find a nut to put onto that. So, the only nut I got around here is me. Until we use the master cylinder as the nut. That's what it has to go into anyway, right? A little tension on it, but it had tension on it before. Okay, I think it'll work. Okay, this is chrome. That's chrome, and that's aluminum. The chrome likes to gall real bad, especially on itself, and chrome likes to gall, as well as aluminum. The steel is not a major issue. You don't want to put anything contaminated on your brake line, but we're going to put a little bit of oil on this thread, or a little bit of grease to make it so it won't be dry. If it's dry, it'll stick on you and you're done. Here's my assembly lube. Here's my assembly lube. It's hidden someplace. There it is. Okay, so your little assembly lube right here. Take a little bit of drop of this. About that much is way too much. Put most of it back. Okay, I only want lube on the thread right here only. So you get on the nut. See it right there on the nut. pull that back, wipe off the tube, make sure you didn't get anything on the tube. I don't think I did anyway, but just double check. Make sure the hole is clear. Now there's no damage, no chance of oil being where you don't want it. If you get petroleum products on top of your brake line rubber, the rubber will swell up and you'll be done. So now we're going to go ahead and tighten this down. If it feels more than just a nice even drag, stop. Do this a bunch of times back and forth. If it doesn't get any better, then you put a little lapping compound on there, but you got to go back and tear everything apart and clean it. Okay. Pretty tight now. Lower, about right there. Come up a little higher, back it up a little bit. Right there. Need 2 inches to tighten this up here. You don't want to put any pressure on this line because you will bend it or break it clean off. We're going to get into here. So you squeeze this wrench with your hand and hold the crescent wrench. If the crescent wrench doesn't move, you're not hurting the line any. But you are tightening the piss out of the other side. Boom. Now that put a hell of a twist in the line, which I do not like. See how it's got a big twist in the line? So I'm going to loosen it up a little bit. And then we'll come back and try to twist it out of it. You can see how that's going to be and how that's following up through here. So I'll fix that. That doesn't look too bad from the top view either. Looks nice. Okay. So more than likely I'm going to have to take it back out of the master cylinder so I can tighten this up correctly. Right now we don't have access to do it correctly. You'll see how much of a twist was in this when I get this out of here. It's got quite a bit in there. So you can see the line was bent almost 90 degrees to twist in it. It's about 75 degrees of twist. So now we're going to take that out of there. And do that. Move this one way down. So you get about 75 degrees past where we want it to be. And if you torque to the same dimension, when you're done, it'll be in the same spot. See, I need the correct tools. Crescent wrench is too big and bulky. See, sometimes you just have to go back and get 2 of the correct tools to do a job. Less chance of doing damage. Okay, I already got it tightened up fairly well, but see, we're not quite flat yet. So now that I got the correct tool in here, squeeze your wrench, comes up as you go. If you need more of a bite, you take the wrench out, turn it 90 degree or 180, put it back in there again, and then you got your, just tighten some more, see? And now it's tight, real tight, and see how we're flat. That's where I want to be, I think. Just back in here. Twist in it, but not too bad. There's that twisting I don't like. I'm not sure which direction it's in there. I gotta figure out which direction I want this to be at. I'm a little bit too high. No, I need to be. I need more torque on it. I don't have enough on there yet. So I need to go a little higher. About 10 degrees up now. Push it in there. Just a little bit more. A lot of tension on that. That'll work. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Trying to get that nut to start is a little hard, but take your time. It's not that hard to figure out how to do it right. Just don't force it. If you have to force it, you screw it up once, you're done. It's hard to fix the first thread. Okay. Tighten it down. Okay. So now it's just sitting straight right now. As you push it forward a little bit to put the bolt nut on, or the other line on there, it'll be right about there. It doesn't have really too much of a twist in there, just barely any. And that'll be fine. When you pull it back down here straight, it'll be almost straight. Works pretty good. That doesn't look too bad right there. Now we got to figure out what length line this is, and we got to get a longer line. Because we are short by 2 inches at least. Problem I don't like is the line's going up this way toward the exhaust pipe and then this way. So this is probably going to be held up in the air a little bit. So I'm going to put the pipe on here and see if I like this or not. If I don't like it, I'm going to turn this 90 degrees and have the other line coming out through here, make a turn and go up that way. I don't want this getting in the exhaust pipe under here, and I think it's going to get pretty tight. So I need to go get my exhaust pipes, put those on, and we'll see what that's going to be. Like I said, I might have to turn that line. If I do, I get to redo everything I just did. That's all right. Practice. All right, we'll be right back.